Mentor again, and today's rockin' selection is from The Who's very first My Generation LP. The song is called The Kids Are Alright, and it became the title of their biography movie, their biopic. Pete Townshend wrote the song, and it was the first hit for The Who in the United States. It wasn't released as a single till several months after the album was released, but it became an anthem for them and a favorite in all their concert sessions. Here's The Who. The Kids Are Alright. No, that's not the song we're doing today. But you know what? I've been bound and determined to use a 12-string at some point during the song mentor journey here. And so I think The Kids Are Alright is going to be the one. Pete Townshend used Rickenbacker 330 on The Kids Are Alright and also on I Can't Explain. So why not? Let's have some fun with a 12-string today. Don't let this inhibit you at all. Everything that I do here, this is an easy song today, and the chording will sound really nice on a 6-string electric. In fact, later in the lesson, if I have time, I'm even going to throw in just what I would consider to be kind of a neat unplugged acoustic version of this song. And I did see Pete Townshend perform this live acoustically on stage, and it sounded really neat. One of the reasons it sounded so neat is because it has a nice minor chord in it, so it lends itself well to that, to a solo presentation as well on acoustic. So we'll cover all the bases here today, and we'll start with the chords you're going to need. Going to need lots of sus chords today, but we'll start with an open D. You'll also need a D sus4, which of course I get by flattening out my finger onto the 3rd fret of the first, I'm going to say first strings. Okay. You'll need an A sus2, which is the A chord without this C sharp note in there, the 2nd fret of the 2nd string. If you can play it with one finger covering the 4th and 3rd strings at the 2nd fret, it's tricky, but if you can, it's going to be faster in the song, especially with a 12-string. You guys that are playing a 6-string won't have as much trouble with this. Otherwise, you can just play 1st, 2nd finger here. Of course, you need a regular open A. And you're going to need an A sus4, which is the regular A with my 2nd finger added to the 3rd fret of the 2nd strings. The A sus4. You're also going to need this version of an A, which is kind of a super A chord. And this is a little bit tricky because it requires some span, but that's okay. You're going to bar here like you would a regular A chord, and you're going to reach up with your pinky and grab the 1st and 2nd strings at the 5th fret. That really open, jangly chord there. You're going to need also that version of a G chord. In other words, I'm going to take that pinky and cover, I call this a super G. I'm covering the 2nd or the 3rd fret of the 2nd string with the pinky as well. It's just modified as opposed to a regular G. It sounds like this. It's just janglier and fuller. Okay, and then finally, the aforementioned E minor chord, which is going to be an important part of this song. So let's see if we got them all. A regular D, a D sus4, an A sus2, an open A, an A sus4, this A, this G, and an E minor chord. And that should do it for the chords for The Kids Are Alright. Okay, I was slightly remiss. I did leave out one slight variation on a chord here. And really, I left out the D sus2, which we're kind of playing here with a little bit of a difference. This is kind of almost a D5 chord as well. The opening chord of the song is rated by many sites as the 2nd most recognizable opening chord to a song, behind, you guessed it, A Hard Day's Night. And Boy, I searched all over the place to try to find out what Townsend's doing with this chord, because it doesn't sound to me like just a regular full D. And to the best of my knowledge, with the 12 string, I think what he's doing is playing a D5 or a D sus2, but he's muting the first string, or strings in this case. So what we're getting is like so. So I'm just picking from 4 down, so I'm really getting those 3 strings. I'm getting 4, 3, and 2, but not 1. You gotta try and mute that. And so again, this is just a regular D chord with the second finger removed. And the second finger could do the muting, or you can just kind of let your third finger get a little lazy and kind of sit across the first strings there. But you don't want that first string to sound. And so that's the opening chord I'm going to suggest from the fourth, a D chord from the 4th string down with the first string muted. And then of course the vocal begins and the first verse begins. I don't mind. And you have to start that vocal with nothing to help you. You're not chording along with it, but the D chord that you played there, that partial D chord, I don't mind, is going to help you find the vocal at the beginning. And then other guys, on the word guys, we strum that super G chord. Guys dancing with my. So we're going to play the A sus2 with my girl. So the first time through, I don't mind other guys dancing with my girl. And the second time through there, it's just a regular super G and a regular A chord. But the first time through, we go from the A sus2 to the A before we go back to the D. Okay, same thing through again, except this time, of course, I have the D chord to accompany me when I sing. That's fine, I know them all pretty well. This time we stay on the D. And we can put a D sus4 in there. That's fine, I know them all pretty well. And then we switch to the E minor chord, and this, to me, this is what makes the song, is this progression here. But I know sometimes I must get out in the light. Better leave her behind. With the kids, they're alright. The kids are alright. So let's go through that slowly, and I'm going to show you everything in a moment here with just showing you the right hand only so you can get all this strumming. But I know sometimes I must get out in the light. Better leave her behind. With the kids, they're all, and this is where this gets a little bit tricky because we've got to use susses. Right, the kids are all right. So we go D, D sus4, A sus4, A. D, D sus4, A sus4, A. One more time through that. But I know sometimes I must get out in the light. Better leave her behind. With the kids, they're alright. The kids are alright. All right, let's do a playthrough of the intro chord, the verse, showing the left hand, and then we'll do the same thing showing the right hand. I don't mind other guys dancing with my girl. That's fine, I know them all pretty well, but I know sometimes I must get out in the light. Better leave her behind. With the kids, they're alright. The kids are alright. One, two, three. I don't mind other guys dancing with my girl. That's fine, I know them all pretty well, but I know sometimes I must get out in the light. Better leave her behind. With the kids, they're alright. The kids are alright. All right, the only thing left to learn, and we said this was a simple song, is that bridge section. And the bridge section is quite unique. It's sort of that, it's got that constantness to it, like that free-flowing windmill thing that Pete Townsend's so famous for. And what he's doing here, I believe, is he's got this, that's a constant. The open A is a constant, and he shuttles back and forth between this power super A chord that I mentioned in the intro. So if you can just constantly so we go from the super A chord to the super G chord, or at least the high end of the super G chord. We don't want these notes of a regular G chord in here because they will interfere with that ringing A. So all we're really doing is taking this, including these two notes as well, and just dropping the first and second strings, 5th fret, to the first and second strings, 3rd fret. And we change from an A to open, from an A formation with our first finger to nothing with our first finger. So again, the important thing is to get that sounding constant A tone. So when we get to the end of this bridge section, we do let the dynamics of that open A build a little bit. It sort of builds to a frenzy before he gets back into the next verse, or a repeat of the first verse. So it's like a... This is the second time through. Don't mind. Okay, so you gotta... It's already frantic enough. You can hear it kind of build there at the end, as if it's not already frantic enough, but it does build just before we go back into that repeat verse. Let's do a play through the bridge section. A 1, 2, 3, 4. I know if I go, things would be a lot better for her. I had things planned, but her folks wouldn't let her. I don't mind other guys dancing with my girl. All right, just before I leave you today, let's see what we can do adapting this to acoustic. There are a few little alterations. We might want to take the tempo down a little bit. And some of the phrasing is maybe a little bit more cut off and not as extended because there are no harmony vocals to concentrate on. You're just on your own, and it kind of frees you up a little bit to play around with the phrasing and the delivery of the song. And when I did watch Townsend play this live and Unplugged, he did begin with the same opening chord. I don't mind other guys dancing with my girl. That's fine, I know them all pretty well. But I know sometimes I must get out in the light. Better leave her behind. With the kids they're alright. The kids they're alright. Sometimes I feel I gotta get away. Bells chime and I know I gotta get away. And I know if I don't, I'll go out of my mind. Better leave her behind. With the kids they're alright. The kids they're alright. Though if I go, things would be a lot better for her. I had things planned, but her folks wouldn't let her. I don't mind other guys dancing with my girl. All right, there's your fine tuning for today. Just to demonstrate that you can take a song that's traditionally been a classic rock song and adapt it a little bit to a softer sound and a softer feel. And sometimes it works out pretty well. I think that's a good example of that. All right, The Who, The Kids Are All Right, their first big single in the United States. Pete Townsend and Company. We'll see you next time on Song Mentor.